All right, I'm not handling the recording
Right.
parts. I think
That's not it. Yeah, that's not it.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
thank you.
handle the all right, that's fine. All right, so what was I about to say? So yeah, I said yeah, it's a good way you have your own when you are working in your own code base that you kind of have functions that do things and then you properly write them and properly document them so that you can basically have that function and then use it wherever you want to use it, basically. The internal details of how that function is going to work, it's something that you may even forget after a while. And it's just because, I mean, you know that function, you understand what it is doing. I mean, well, you may understand that, oh, if this goes into this function and something is going to come out of it. I call some things like that as black boxes, right? I mean, that's what people should call them anyway. So when you have this your black boxes like that, you basically just don't try to think about how it is doing what it is doing. You just know that, oh, something goes in and some things come out. You know what is going in and you know what is coming out of it. So when you have functions that are defined like that, especially the name makes sense, it kind of describes what it is give going in and what is coming out like that. You probably don't want to care about the internal workings. And whenever you have those kind of functions now, you can basically or code it or code basically. You can basically try and use it in your application over and over again. Some of the things I've been sharing with you guys, I am writing them from scratch for you guys actually. Basically, I just go into my maybe my latest code base and I just see, oh, I need this, and I just go to my code base, pick up what I need from there and paste it wherever I need it to be. Because I have worked with it and I know what I am working with basically. So yeah, you guys can have things like that. Basically, those middlewares we are writing, I mean, those are good examples of that particular scenario. And the other thing I have noticed here is that it seems like a lot of people have issues with the error handling part, the error handler middleware. So I think it's a good maybe it will do us a lot of good that I take over the explanation again, but this time around trying to speed things up. So to help you guys understand how the classes have been structured, I have been trying not to make experiments before the classes. Like basically, I'm trying to get into the class, make the mistakes I make along the way, stop it along the way. But probably that may not give you a good learning experience, right? Because sometimes I may lead to errors that I may have errors that I have not seen before, basically now while teaching you guys. And because I have not seen them before, I am not properly able to experiment with it and actually get it to be fixed in the span of the time that we have. So I think today I tried to create a new branch on my GitHub, trying to see how I mean at least see those things, trying to put them all together. Let me know. I think it may give a much more learning experience for you guys. So I think so far I try to do the following things. Let me see if I can get it structure my class like that. I mean it's my first time teaching anyway, so teaching code anyway. So I guess it's we learn every time. All right. So these are the things I said that I think is fine that we should do. All right. So basically the first time we were talking about the logger that we're using from Winston, uh, I don't like the colors. I said I did not like the colors it was given. It is ugly. So we are going to see how we can put colors to that. And we are going to really talk about the error and line now. And then we now focus on the authentication stuff that we are doing. In the general scope of things, this is what I expect you guys to be to see, right? In the general scope of things, this is week 5. And then week 5 is basically just says sample projects to implement. We've been implementing a project since the end of week 3, and we've been using it to understand authentication with JWT. So I think week 5, we should basically try to finish it up and then give you an assignment to also work with so that we can start talking about the some advanced backend tools and introduce the capstone project, something to finish us finish this entire experience with. So that's what my main target is. Okay. So in the capstone project, we'll learn how to deploy, we'll learn how to document with this thing. So I think those 3 weeks that think while we talk about this theoretically, we will still be doing our capstone project like that. So that is why I asked you guys to give a list on group chats. So I can see we have up to 7 names there. So minus me, I think those are 6 people that are there on the list now. I think from the assignments we did, there's 9 people submitted the assignments. And so 9 people, I'm looking into trying to create a document where I assign people to some tasks on the capstone project. Once you see here, this thing you're seeing here is basically what your is a code base for the capstone project actually that has already been implemented by me already. So but then I think it was built using we use TypeScript. I use TypeScript for it anyway. So but our code base is written um, in JavaScript. So the difference between two of them is basically that we do a lot of type annotations there. You may want to check what the difference is there. So some of the reasons why I've been seeing some error and whatever is that I did not really spend my time writing backend application with pure JavaScript like that. So, and I knew that trying to teach you guys the entire thing. Okay, learn JavaScript, review it well. Learn TypeScript, review it well. It may not give you guys the learning experience that you want to have. So I just decided to let's work with JavaScript, and then it can serve as a learning experience for you and for me. So while still working with JavaScript, I wanted things to look very closely to the way I normally work as much as I can. And still, I mean, that's why we had this particular thing coming here, which to be honest, I never saw before. Where was it? We're trying to import something the other time. I mean, definitely, I'll get the listing from here. Anyway, so one more thing before we actually get started. I think I saw one more thing now. So there'll be a folder that we have now. So I think it will help you guys. Some of my personal things will show you now. Uh, sorry. Okay. Where is it? Because I tried updating it. So yeah, I think I called it change log. So these documents, I will be updating it as we take our classes. So in case you want to replicate what we did in a class in a class and you want to see how the stuff changed, we should come here to this change log document. I'm going to write what we did in a particular class and then where the code base is affected. Now, as much as I can remember, so that we know what we are doing. Okay, so at least you are able to come back and finish up. You don't need to watch the video. Basically, just go to the code base, figure some things out from there. I think that's what will make sense from there. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay. So those names on the list, they are for task assignments. I don't know if I should make it a group work or a what's it called? Something totally individual. What do you guys think? Let me hear you guys. What do you guys think? Should I divide you guys into groups? Then in the groups, I'll give you a section that you work with, or everybody's individual, and then you create your own individual branches on your own GitHub. You make the peer request into a roots repository, which is probably my own, and then I'll review your code, and then I'll merge it if I like what you do, or I make corrections. So should we have it as a group or as individual work?
Yeah,
What do you guys
I
think?
feel the later one is better. The one of us creating branches and you reviewing it and merging it. Is that the group one, sir?
No, no, I mean, we could do it as a group as well. I just feel like if you guys work as a group now, you guys you can brainstorm together. Or, I mean, I don't know. Okay, we can leave it for now and then fine tune the plans later on. Maybe let me think
Alright.
about it and see and get the structure. But regardless of what we are going to do, you guys, we are going to we are going to have a central repository, which is probably my own. And then you are going to I'm going to assign tasks to each of you guys. That's why I'm having a list now. I want to start making plans towards it. So you guys will create your own separate branches, make whatever changes you want to make based on the tasks I have assigned to you guys, and then you work with it. So regardless, that's what we are going to be doing. And I hope it makes a good simulation of what collaborative work looks like. Okay.
Yes, that's perfect.
All right. So let's see. What's the constraint listing now? Create branch. Okay. So let me just check out. Just switch to the main branch. All right. So let me see if everything is working fine here. All right. We are back on the bin here. Uh, what's going on? All right. Interesting. I did not want that. Oh my goodness. Oops, check out. What am I doing? Oh, fuck. Okay, you know what? Let me check out. Oh, honest, I did not want any of this thing. So I used to always do this like that. So where am I going from? Sorry. Eh, excuse me, you guys. Okay, why am I forgetting this thing? I actually basically want to get rid of what I just did. Or do any of you guys know with Git research? No. That is now this thing. Update some changes. All right, yeah, back. All right. So yes, so let's get started now. Let me go back to the this thing. Are you guys with me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So let's start our application now. npm run dev. All right. So the first thing I want us to do is that let's see. I don't like to see my console.log with with the database here. I actually want to make it a little nicer. I mean, if I scroll up to what you guys are seeing here, you can see it in this nice blue that I was talking about in the last class. So let's try and implement that here. So if you look at where we wrote this console.log here, right? So I want it to be the logger that will write it. So it will have that blue nice color. So let's import the logger that we find and replace this console.log with logger.info. So logger.info. Please, we are sending message on the group chats. I want it to be something I'm keeping track of. You probably want to send it here or just mute your mic because I'm not checking it. I'm not checking my phone for the moment. Okay. So okay. So you can see that one has changed to this green I don't so much like. All right, so it has changed to that. Oh, okay. We wrote this one here. So let's change it. All right. So let's import the logger as well. Import logger. Okay. Logger.js. No why that isn't working. So we have it to be logger. Simple. We have this to be local. Don't know why I didn't copy and paste that. Look at the info as well. That's the first thing I want to do. Okay. So everything is written nicely in green. The dates, the level of the log, and the message I am printing are all written there in green. But I think this green is ugly. So let me come here and do what I want to do. So what you just need to do is to import add colors here. So from Winston, there's this thing that says add colors. So it's just a function that is expecting some things here. So add colors, you can see it here. It's expecting some colors that you want to have. It's expecting something like this because I'm not going to type that with my hand. It's going to expect your log and the color you want to have. So maybe info and green, error and red, something like that. So let me just go and copy and paste it from where I already have that defined. That's why I had this thing here. So you can see it here now. So I'm not interested in writing it out now. Everything. Let me just come here and then nicely paste it there. So, okay, uh, did not want properly, but okay. So I guess that's that. We have there. So, let's see. Everything should work properly now. Yep. So you can see it now. So we can see our nice blue color. I mean, this looks better, doesn't it? So, and then you can see it info bold cyan. Okay. So to be honest, I've forgotten what cyan is. I think cyan is the blue, isn't it? So that's it. I don't know about cyan, but that is blue to me. So that's what we have there. So if we have an error, it will be red and then bold red, blah, blah. So that's kind of what your add colors is doing. So you just need to specify this and then it will be part of your this thing when you say you should colorize it. Okay. So that's just, I mean, this is something I just normally just pick and drop without thinking so much about it. So I guess you guys can have that similar approach. So I can keep my logger.js out of the way and then I've made some changes like that. Okay. So let's move on to the actual main stuff we want to do now. All right, let's talk about this error handler middleware again, okay? Because that is where a lot of the headache was coming from. So this is how we should talk about it now. This is middleware and this is the error handler. So this API error that I defined here is I'm creating it for, say, I want to have, let's say I'm creating some function now, and I just want to have what's it called? A custom error, right? Say something is not found, a bad request or an internal error. This is where I create the custom error types. It's under my class API error class. Okay. So in this index.js, this is where the actual um error handler stuff works. So the error handler now, where it really shines is that let's say you are having a controller code like this, your this thing. If any error occurs there, and it's kind of like an error that you think this error, first of all, you don't want to specifically write it in your controller code. That's oh, I mean, in this case, if there is an existing user in the database, basically you don't want to create a new account. That makes sense to put where you are creating an account, right? But you don't want to check that, oh, there's an error from Mongoose where we are putting our database. You don't want to put that thing where you are doing your register account because it could be a reusable error. It could be an error that is occurring many times. For example, let's see something now. In our database for these registering accounts, it's expecting some few things now. It's expecting first name, last name, email, username, password, and gender. Imagine if the consumer of our API, where is it, create an account, actually misspells one of our, what's it called? One of our fields. Instead of writing username, they wrote usernames. or something like that. If they send this request now, okay, there's an error that will come back. And the error, okay, in fact, this is still a bug, but I don't want to talk about it now. Let me just come here and do what I'm still doing now. The reason why we have that kind of result here, I don't know if it says user already exists, log in instead. That's because we have created an account here already. It's checking that the email is okay. That the email is basically like the email exists in the database already. There's still something to talk about it then, but I don't want to talk about it yet. Okay. So I hope this MongoDB stuff returns quickly back to me so I can show you guys what I want to say. Okay. Don't know their website is always annoyingly slow. Okay. So let me delete it off the database now and just send that request again. So let's say I send a request now. So I will get an error. And what's the error that I'm getting now? The error is the fact you can see from here saying validation error. Okay, now you are even confused. Where is this thing coming from? Basically, it says, and the reason is because this usernames is not well formatted. The consumer of our API made the mistake. And as someone that is sending this to you, you don't want to send back an HTML to them. You basically want to always send that kind of our response that we have here. Let me see if it is showing here now. Something like this. When someone wants to log in, we are telling them that you just want to send something very nicely then. But this error that occurred here, it was not something that you had control over. This did not originate from inside of your own code base. So you want to have a place where you can, oh, any error that is coming on, whether it is in your own code base or whether it is your code base dependencies, you want to have a way of properly formatting it out, right? So that's the, and also you also don't want to write it every single place that you need it to be. So that is where you think of your error and your what's it called? Your error handler middleware. You don't want to have it there. So first of all, in the last class, we made a teeny tiny mistake I did not catch. When you define your error handler, you put it at the last of your this thing now. You put it after you've defined all your routes. That's the first thing now. Okay, so that's the first thing. You put it at the last of your routes. Your app.use error handler comes after you've defined your routes. So that's the first thing you want to have. Okay, that's because okay, well, what was I saying now? So let me come back here to the index. So that is what the benefits of this error handler is for. Number one, let me just have it now so that we have something written down. Benefits of error handler. Number one is that format error from code base dependencies, okay, from where your code is depending on. Okay, that's the first thing. And second of all, don't beat uh error cases. So let's say, for example, now that particular error that happened because the consumer of your API did not spell username very well. And it's something that's supposed to go inside your database. Let's say it happens in the login account as well. They say password words. So the fact that you wrote it there, if that field is correct, do you want to still write it there inside the your what's it called, your controller logic? You probably don't want to do so. So you want to have a place that, oh, when everything is being tried out properly, oh, an error occurs. First of all, log the error out and then pass it to the next functionality that can handle it. And that is where you point it to the error handler. As far as what the next is doing now, the next is pointing to your error handler if you have defined it and it is working well. If you do not define it and it is not working well, you get returned an HTML as your as a response from wherever you are testing your API. And your error, I mean, we've already told it that the error should be logged. Okay? I hope I'm making some sense there. I need a verbal response from there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So another thing is that if you did not provide this next, and this is something we talked about the last class now, if you don't provide this next, Express will not know that, oh, the error occurred and it should basically do something about it. The response will never come back to your this thing, to your wherever you're testing. So whoever is test using your API, the response, it will just keep on going and going until there's a timeout. So that is the essence of putting this next there. Next is Express way of figuring things out. It thinks of next wherever there's an error, basically. Whenever there's an error, next it out. Okay. So I may be oversimplifying some things here, but that's kind of the logic to the things that we are saying. Okay. So what you want to do first of all is that you want to define your error handler. And I feel like this is what I should have just done that day so that you get your points. I probably should have just defined a default case inside your listing now. Okay. So let's do something like this now, so that you get the points quickly, even without writing the entirety now. So let's define a message now. Let's message equals the requests failed, try again exam. Okay, that's the message. And let's define an error code. So let me just write error code here. So we've defined it as error code. Now, for example, now. Okay, so error code equals what? What's this thing now? Okay, let's just write 500 basically now. So once we've done that now, we've defined a basic thing now. Okay, so even from here, let me see if it will work basically now. Even from here, our Express is saying that the message to use for it is that if you use the request field and that it should have it, and then just basically respond with it that we have. So let's see if everything works as it should, basically. So let's see if we should run it again as well. So you can see that request failed, try again later. An error occurred. Actually, it did occur anyway, right? An error occurred and then it failed something. I mean, an error occurred. It's passing all the way from here. Let me show you. Let me trace it out for you guys in case you do not know. Like this now. We tried creating an account here. One of the fields we collected is what is usernames. So usernames is not, this is not where we are deconstructing the rec.body body now is here. Okay, we are deconstructing it here. As far as the rec.body body knows now, it sees the first name inside the JSON we passed here. Inside we passed here, it sees it. It sees the words, the last name, it sees username, it sees password, and it sees gender. It did not see the username. The usernames we passed here is not even being collected by anything. So it's just like a request, a part, an entry that is doing nothing. So this username here is undefined. Our existing user says that, oh, if there's the email, basically log this thing out. So where it comes to here is in this place here, where we try to create a new user. It says the first name, the last name, email, username. The username, the reason why it failed actually is because we have our what's it called, our models. We said that the username must be a required one. You can see it in the user schema. I hope I'm not too fast, and I hope I'm not too slow as well. Our required is true. We told it to be true, and that is why that particular request failed. So saying that request failed, try again later as a default there, it is fine, but you don't want to have that because even you'll be confused that, oh, how come? What actually happened there? Why didn't this thing work? If I push this thing to whoever is going to use my code, they are going to be confused because they don't even know what's happened. Do you understand why what they did wrong that the request failed? So you probably just want to start checking for different cases of error that could have happened. So the first thing that you want to check is that you say, oh, if the error, was it, is an instance of the API error that you wrote. If it is part of the API error that you wrote now, the message is basically under your error dot message. Now, okay, so that's the this thing now. If you check your API error, which we already defined here, we already said that you should have a code and a message. So API error is instantiated by this now. I mean, it has this particular way of looking. Let's say we want to create an API error. You can say E is equals to new API error. We create this, that's the constructor, 400, comma, and the message is what? Blah, blah. So if we want to make use of it now, we use something like this. So error e.code is the error code, and e.message is the error message. Are we following with me now? So that's the idea to that. So if you come back here to your what's the distance now? So we get the message from here, and we say the error code. Hold on. Is equals to the error dot code, and then we have it from there because the API error has that. So who was trying to say something there?
Yeah, I just wanted to like clarify also, like in that API error.js, those not found, bad request, and internal error, they are all like methods of the API error class, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So oh, what are these things happening? Okay. Yeah, so that's the this thing there that we have. Okay, so that's the main point of doing this API error thing. And I feel like before I even start doing is that a question?
Yeah, I would like to ask one more question.
Okay.
Yeah, also looking on this if error instance of API error, like what does it like? I'm still trying to like wrap my head around the like instance of. Does it like mean that if like that error, like the error that we're saying, then if it appears inside that API error class, that's when it should work or what? Sir?
All right. So remember how the mongoose error we came about here? Let me spoil this thing from working now first properly here. Uh, I don't know why that is taking forever to comment out, but the thing I'm trying to say is that the error that we basically ruined the in detail of here by saying request failed, try again later. Now it was a mongoose error, basically. So if we try let me send it again anyway. I don't know why VS Code is taking forever to notice that that part is a comment, and I don't know why this is taking forever to show up. Okay. I mean, it has responded from there. Oh, basically, can you imagine me? All right, this is the reason why it's not working. All right, how do I ruin this thing? Uh, Let me let this thing do its thing. All right, so because we didn't, all right, aha. So we saw how the response just kept on going forever and ever. It's because in our error handler that we gave, that the next is pointing to, we are not sending a response again. We did not send a response there. So that's why that request was going over and over. It was just going. But let me see now. Let me send that thing again. So we see what is going on there. Aha. So the person that asked that question now, can they go again over it?
Yeah, so I was asking like that error, like the instance of um the error instance of API error, like what does it like
What does it
do? Like
mean? Or what
yeah,
does it mean? Or what does it do?
yeah.
All right.
Like,
So
what
this
does it
part,
mean?
all right. So this error that we are getting here, it's a different error we are even getting now. I think I've formatted this thing to work well that we are not getting that error I wanted again. That's the error we were getting. So the error we are getting now that we are getting here is stemming from the fact that something is not defined, which I'll still come back to. But the initial error I wanted you guys to see was from what's it called? The mongoose. So mongoose is trying to tell us that MongoDB is not saying like it requires this username, right? So that one is an instance of a MongoDB error. This API error we have here now is our own custom error. So if anything goes on wrong, for example, now we return this thing. And let me show you guys how it is made use of, how we can make use of it immediately. So you get the points of it. We are going to make use of it 2 times in this class. We are going to write a 404, a not found middleware, and we are going to write an authentication middleware. So let's see how we go about a 404 middleware. Basically, an endpoint that does not exist in our application. Let me uncomment this thing out so you guys will see now. An endpoint that does not exist in our this thing. Let me, if I send this request back, to still say the request not found. And then for some reason, the responses seem to be taking longer than usual. I don't know, maybe something I did wrong, but I'll come back to it. So that's what we have. Request field, try again later. So let's say, for example, now we have register. This endpoint does not exist. If we send it now, it's come back with a not well formatted 404 page. This is not what we want to send to our users of our API. We don't want to send HTML back to them. We want to send JSON every time. So that the fact that something is not found is what we should do, right? So let's see how we can go about it. So you should go about to your not found middleware and you create a new file and say something like this. Let me see. So the middleware, let's create one that says not found.js. Okay. So when you say not found.js, uh, what's going on? What was the error now I was getting? Okay. Sorry. Uh, sorry. Let me just reply to a WhatsApp message that just okay. I keep getting some messages about the class. I can't see it like that. Mm-hmm. All right, so let me continue from what I wanted to do now. So I want to create a not found middleware. I can say const not found equals to, remember, it's something relating to Express. So I want to say request response, basically, and next, to be honest now. So let's just create an arrow function for it and just define it like that. And what you want to just do is that you want to say, okay, now import your API error. Okay. So what you want to do is that you want to return next. That's when there is a next, an error of this not found now. You want to return next. So do the next thing, or basically create an error now. Error is equals to create an error that is here. API. All right, we are not declaring that well. Let's error, or we can say const error equals to API error dot not found. So this error we created now is an instance of the API error. So what we want to do is that once this error is ever found now, just the return next of the error. We get. So I just want to write everything neatly here and say return next API error does not found. Basically, that's just what I want to do whenever something is not found. So just say export default not found. Okay. So what I want to do here is that I want to make use of this thing. Let me delete this comment away and say app dot use. What was it again? Not found. I can see it has imported it for us now. So let's see if we try it now and see. Okay. I mean there have been changes, so I don't know why that still did not work. Okay, in the API error, where is it? This thing needs to just properly format itself. Does anybody know a tool for that? When I do it, these things with TypeScript, I don't have to write the extensions. Everything just works. Okay, something is wrong. Something is wrong. Okay, one more thing. So the page, this page does not exist. This endpoint does not. In fact, let me just correct it in that place. Yeah. So this endpoint is what we are trying to test on. So it does not exist basically. So it's saying cannot. So something is wrong going on here. See. Uh. Mhm. Where is this thing? So let me see. Console. Uh, mhm. Oh, I've seen what is going on. I did not create my this thing. Well, it's supposed to be new API error, but that should be how we construct it. I hope that is not that's what happens there. Mm, okay, it happens very well. API does not found is not a constructor. So what am I doing? Don't found. Let me see. Where's the API error again? So okay, it creates that very well. Okay, so that's how I'm creating it now. So I'm supposed to be able to see this not found for and say requested resource not found. So there's something I'm not doing right here. So this is the thing. I don't really want to do this when I am having a class, something I have not tested myself. So I don't want to affect how you are doing with this thing. Uh, to be honest, I'll check that later. Okay. Well, are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I've seen the reason. We don't return next. Sorry. I just remembered now. We don't return next. We just basically say next. All right. So I guess that's the issue that we have. So this should still work. So we are back to this restricting. All right. All right. So what I'm trying to say though is that when you create your error, this is how to make use of your API error stuff, right? So whenever you have an error that you are defining, and then you want to plug it in like that, that's the idea there. That error when it goes to your API error now, where is it? So it goes down to say if the error is an instance of the API error, says the take the message and take the this thing. All right. So let me even see now. If the message is this now, let me see something now. I need to see what is going on. All right, this is not where it's being made use of. Okay. Console.log. Let me see what is going on here. So the reason why I don't see things is because I'm not even seeing where those things are coming from. All right. Mhm.
So
That's what I wanted to confirm. All right, sorry, we placed this on top of that of the error handler. So yeah, that's why it wasn't working. All right, that's the thing. So I made a couple of error from there. All right, so back to what I was saying. That's the reason it wasn't working. All right, so you actually place your not found error in front of the on top of the listen. Everything that needs to use your error handler used to be defined on top of it. Okay. Hello, are we there?
yes, sir.
All right. So yeah, so I really wanted to see things work before I show you guys, so I don't affect your this thing. So because I'm doing some things I basically consider boilerplate at this point now is this thing. So let me just give comments here now. Say middleways now. So you want to anything that is using your next, next is how we point to the error handler. And then if that thing is defined after your error handler now, it will not know to make use of it. Are we getting it? So your placement of this thing here, it really, really matters. Remember how I said that I moved your this line here, this is your line 19, app.use error handler. It was here before, and I moved it down here. That's because I wanted all my routes that are ever going to call on the next, for example, that next will point to the error handler and use. So the mistake I made here was that I was using the not found after the error handler. So I just caught that there now, okay? So that's why I just wanted to confirm. So I think even when I said return next, let me see, that should not, although we don't do that though, but let me see, that shouldn't have given the error per se. Let me see. It should still work, I guess. Mhm. So that wasn't the edit per se from there. So are we all clear now? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right. So whoever asked the question now, are we kind of satisfied with this thing now? So because the fact that something is not found, a page is not found in our endpoints, we've kind of defined it here that, oh, as a middleware here that, okay, oh, this endpoint is not found. It's the Express just knows how to figure this thing out. Like that thing is not, it doesn't exist at all. It's not defined anywhere in our application now. We basically just said, okay, use all these routes now for everything you are saying. If you are saying something that is not even found at all, is nowhere to be found, come here, use the next error that is here. And inside the next the one that we defined here, it's basically just going to say, okay, you know what? Next, the API error does not found. And in that place, we've kind of defined that, oh, when it is not found, say return a 404, say this particular message. And that thing is using it here inside our error handler. So your error handler kind of took the entire thing and knew to be able to what to respond it there. Are we clear now on that?
Yes, sir. So basically, like this the let message and error code is like different from this if statements inside. So like if let's
Yes,
say the error is not found inside this API error, is it going to like return this message and error code as the error or like
exactly. Yes.
uh,
So the idea of setting this one now, they are the defaults. They are the default for our errors. So let's say we want to basically have a logic of things going on here that we can update as we walk through our code, basically. So we want to have a logic of things. Okay, these are the things that are going on here. So if those things don't match to the error, they don't update our message. Yeah, basically it says message and error code is defined here and then output it here, basically as a response. But if the error as an instance of API class, as if the error that is seen is not an instance of API error, update the message to take the message from the API error and take the code from there. So we've updated that information, those variables there, and then with what? That's what it's going to send out. So in any error that we have, basically now, is not a member of this API error that we've created here. It basically just says request failed and try again later and with an error code of 500. Are we fine with
okay.
that? All right.
Yes.
So all right, that's the entire point of that. Anyway, that's number one. And then I kind of don't want to write this error message. I mean, this is the way the functionality should work. But we've seen so far that it is quite unhelpful. So we probably should just let things. Okay, this will give us an error of things are not breaking. Let me see. We kind of don't want things to work too perfectly here because we want some errors now to actually throw up to show up in our application because if they show up, we'll be aware of it and then we can actually put it here. If Mongoose is telling us an error now and it's just saying something that is very unhelpful and say request field, try again later, that does not help whoever is going to consume your API, don't you think? Hmm? So it's not going to help whoever is going to consume your API. So I kind of want to break this error handler intentionally now, intentionally to not allow so that those errors are going to show and then we can account for it later on. Now that we know the error handler is working, let us just intentionally not allow it to work. This endpoint that is not working will tell us that it's an error, blah blah. It's not working well here anyway as it is now. It is not working well, but it's kind of intentional. We ourselves, we know that that endpoint is not working, and that's why it is not showing. So we want every other kind of error to basically come out like that. Okay, are we good with that? Are we fine with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's come back here to this. You're creating the listing now. So let's see now. The error is here. These usernames that we have here is still showing up. Let's still see how we can account for it anyway. So we see the error. It's saying validation error, blah, blah, blah. Path username is required. All right. So how do we exactly account for this thing now? Now that we've seen it in our work, let me remove this. I think let's come here now. So we could say something like this, else if. All right. So else if error is pertaining to something now. All right. So how does Mongoose specifically show its thing now? I think I should have made that comment. So it's because it allows me to easily see something. How does Mongoose say its thing now? We could say something like error instance of let me just let this thing be now. So how does Mongoose show its thing? Let me just show you how you can check for it now. So we know we ourselves we're in development mode, and we know that the reason why the error is coming from Mongoose, right? Let us do a better job of saying that thing here. Let's see here. In where our application is working now, where's the off now in the controller? I want us to update this thing to, instead of saying logger.error, let's say console.error. There's still something we'll do to the logger so that it will help, it will be as helpful as this thing, because it's not doing so much a good job as the logger currently. I want us to see the actual error message coming from Mongoose now. Okay, so let's see what it came up with here now. So error, it has a type here of error. Do you understand now? That's what this thing now. So the error is a type of error, and saying the message from them says that users validation failed, path username is required, something like this. That's what we want to actually have a way of doing. So what we want to do is this is that basically I wrote the code for before, but yeah, I kind of so let's come here. Let me see if I can go back to what I did. It's not really where my error is, where my focus is here for now. Else, if error, instance of error, basically, that's what they define it there now. They are using the normal default listing from the language. So if you say message equals, let's just define our probably a mongoose error. So just so that we can just keep error code us to, let's just say 42, for example. So just so we know, we keep on trying things until we get to where that thing happens. So let's come here and let's do that now. Okay, that did not work for some reason. Okay, to be honest, I'll get back to that. I really have something I want to teach later on anyway. But let me just get rid of this now and let this thing work. Okay. I mean, it wouldn't still work because our error handler is not working. I forgot.
So, a quick question.
All right.
So like this what we're encountering now is like although like it's a scenario where the error is not like defined by us basically. Like I've not figured out like what error is like happening. So it's not like it's not able to like handle it gracefully because we have not like figured out the error that is happening and we have not like handled it properly. That's why like displaying the like it's displaying it in HTML form instead of like the JSON form.
All right. So the answer is two ways, basically. Number one, I have defined a default message to always show here already. Are we good? I have defined a default message to always show here. So I kind of want to not let the message show. I just want to have something that I'm doing in that particular case. Okay. I just want to like have it break here. That's what I'm trying to do
Oh,
here.
okay.
So I commented it out. So that's why this is showing now. I really want to see, I really want to see that error actually go on, first of all. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are we
Yes.
good? All right.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so I think a better way of doing it is that let's make our console.log. Let's make use of our console.log file until I update this logger later on. It will actually return the response of saying something does not work, but our terminal will contain the error information. I think that's a better way of doing things. All right, you guys, what do you guys think? I think that's a better way of
Yeah.
doing things now. All right. So
Yes, sir.
something, all right. So something just came up here now. I've allowed my error handler to work very properly now. App.use error handler here. So where we are going to, so the error handler is going to work properly. I don't know. I keep on this thing here. So this is what we are going to be having now. The error will properly show in our terminal here. This is the error, but our response is always going to show something meaningful, that at least something that we have defined, because I defined it here as probably a mongoose error now. Is going to is going to report that. But remember, if it did not, if we didn't say error is an instance of error, it would have said request failed, try again later. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So like
So I
this
can
instance, oh, sorry.
go on, go on, go on.
Yeah, so like this instance of error, like if let's say the error is not an instance of the API error, like this error instance of error overrides the default message.
Yes. Yes, basically it overwrote the default message of saying request failed, try again later.
So one more last question, sir. Sorry. Sorry
I'm
for
listening.
interrupting. All
No, no,
right.
it's fine, it's fine.
Now that we have defined this error instance of error, like let's say the error is not like defined inside this API error. That means any error that comes in that's not defined inside this API error, it's going to display probably a mongoose error, even though the error is not. Let's say the error does not originate from mongoose, like it's also, but because we have defined it as error instance of error, and the message is like a default, probably a mongoose error. That's what is always going to be displayed. If it's not, if
As far as whoever defined that error made use of the default error constructor,
all right,
as far as they used. So this the mongoose guys, they made use of this the default one. Do you understand?
yes sir, yes sir.
So they made use of the default one. So that's why we have that. We in our own case, we called our own class API error. You get that?
Okay.
So
Yes
so
sir.
that's why we have our own this thing not even there. If we had made use of the default error, maybe like we extended it sub this thing, we would still, this line of block that is here is what is going to show.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So how about others? Are we cool with that? Are we cool with what's going on? I mean, I had 6 people start the class. How come we are 4? Who has been asking the question though? I think it is Okomiyo.
Yes, Clinton.
All right,
I don't, yeah.
all right, okay,
Okomi
okay,
also, yeah.
okay. Clinton,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yinka and Tunwashe. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm following
I
along.
think yeah, I'm also following along.
All right. I hope
Right.
it's kind of clear. I know there are some cases where I don't properly say what I want to say, and it's later on I'll just like, okay, yeah, I could have said it in this particular way. Yeah, because that's how code works. You probably don't realize or you forget what is going on at some points. Then you realize that, oh, this is what happened. So it's not so easy to teach per se. If you are, I mean, if you, especially if you're having a mindset that you don't want to waste these people's time.
Yes, well done, sir.
All right. So
Yeah,
I
thank
don't
you.
want to I don't want to spend too much time on that, your error and last still, right? I just want us to have a good, consistent framework where we have something now. So this is how our error handler is going to be working now. Over here, whenever the error is an error is occurring now, an error, not the one that we are catching in our controller code now. In our controller code, we are defining things that really pertain to what we are doing, like a user did not provide their own name now, or an email already exists. That's what we are concerned about there. And in those cases, we want to basically do those things there, properly catch it out. Say something happened from the where we are using it, or something like maybe we are calculating something and that thing is having maybe like an operation error, basically. That is where it's going to trigger our catch. And our catch has to be handled in such a way that our server can always keep running well. So to users now, they don't really care that the error is coming from Mongoose or from your validator. They want to see that something like a good particular error is going on now. Okay. So what you want to do is that you want to probably say something like, oh, let the user see whatever is like an error occurred, basically. Why you that you are monitoring the database, you are seeing the error information, which is here. So we are monitoring the database. This is our own perspective here. You are seeing it here. And then those that are seeing the our make use of our API, you see something like this. Okay. Are we good? That's kind of what we just achieved together here.
Yeah. Yes, I'm good.
All right. So what I want us to do next is to come back to our authentication now. So in the last class, we tried saying something about our listing. Let's now create our proper listing from here. Our account now, Samuel Ajayi at gmail.com, very cool Sam and this thing. We have all this information going on and we created a token, a JWT token there. So the reality is that once this, and how did we even achieve this basically? We came here we created a functionality here in our utils and auth. We said that, okay, we said that we created an access token here. We installed a JWC token here, a this thing for that. And then we use the assign functionality to sign the ID information now. And then the JWT secrets that we have, which is the key that we have, and we are returning the token. So that token, our auth is saying it and passing it as the words, as a this thing, as a this thing there. Exactly. I believe that's quite kind of clear.
Yes.
So what we yeah, so the ID we are signing on, you can see this is how we are passing it here now. Yeah, the underscore ID, which is the ID that the plotting MongoDB is giving to us here. It's given to us here, and that's how we are signing it here in the listing. So the implication of what we have here is that this JWT information, it never expires. Basically, no, it does not expire as it's created like this. And you probably don't want that. Let's say there are reasons why you may not want your you may want your JWT information to expire. Let's think about your bank application. When you are, imagine if you want to have the confidence in you because you open Access Bank on your phone for the first time. Anybody that anytime you just open your Access Bank, it does not even ask you for password or anything, just logs you in directly.
No.
That is no, no. You probably don't want that kind of a scenario. There are reasons why you want your JWT, your access token now to actually log you in now for you to be able to continue using your resource of the application. And that's what we have under the JWT expiry. And how do we include stuff like that? So first of all, that's what we want to do now. But before we start doing it now, let me just create some things here now. So last week I saw this thing for the first time and I said, oh, I just wanted this thing to just do its thing. So let me just replace this thing with reasonable names here, basically, and just call this one the big create. Yeah, so I'm using the name of the package itself to basically just have that instead of having that thing now. So the reason why it didn't work is because these ones they are expecting the require statements. That's how the people that made the library do that now. They do not have this kind of import statements for their stuff. So they are expecting that required thing before. I'm not doing that required thing like that. So that's why I had to do it like that. Okay, so that's what we are working with. I hope we understand that. So that's number one. And number two is that I want us to check back that JSON web token package again. That's where we saw this thing, functionality from. Okay. So what we want to do here is that we want to see, okay, we saw the sign thing that is there now. We want to add some expiry information. And how do we add expiry information? We come here to your this thing where we are creating it. This is where we see it here, Nabi. So if we create it now, the first option now, let me just try and create this function again. Let me say token is equals to sign. Once I open it, it will show up some things that it's expecting. It's expecting a payload. The payload is the information you want to encode. You want to encode. Your key is the secret or private key, which is the second thing. And then the next thing is options. Whenever you see the options now, you know you are going to have a JSON or an object there basically. So let's put it now. Once we create an object there, it tells us like, I think expires in will show up from there. Expires in. So expires in now. How many days do we want this thing to expire? Maybe like 30 days. So you write a string. It is a string that should have what? Like 30 D. It already understands that. It already understands that. Okay. So you want to let me see if I remember this thing well. Okay. So that's how to show that your token is expiring at a particular time. So I don't want this information about when the token per se is shown easily on my code base. I want to add it into my .env file. So in my .env, I can say JWT. Okay, I already did that. That's 30 days there. So I want to have it in my code base and say, okay, J const JWT lifetime equals process dot env dot live okay dot jwt lifetime is there. So inside this place, let's take it as jwt lifetime. As a default, anything you write inside your .env environment is coming back as a string. Okay, so let's see how that plays off into our logging in. So okay, when you're logging into the application now, you see this. Okay, we are not showing the token there. All right, so let's have one more thing. I think that's what we want to do. So that token is only valid for 30 days basically. And inside your login now, where is it off now? You want to have the access token to be there inside your login there. Okay, so how do you have the access token to be created there? So you want to say, okay, user, and then this is how you want to do it now. Basically, want to say first access token, just like the same way you created it there. You want to create the access token. What's the user that we have? User dot underscore ID. So you've created the user from there, and then you want to have the user as a JSON object here. So we have it there as a JSON. So you want to return the user. You want to say maybe like token and create the access token that we just created there. We basically just want that to show. All right, so let's everything works well. All right, so let's see the login now. Mhm. All right. So everything looking nice and easy. You see where we are going to make use of that in just in a few minutes now. All right. So let's come here. Okay. So, oh, okay. I did not say this. Logger dot info. What's this thing? Login from service. All right. So what I want us to start thinking of next is more on the authentication side of things now. We've talked about this JWT expiry. We are still going to see how long more or less the information or how to output the information. But this is the main gong we are going to. This authentication middleware. This is where we are going to talk about. So are we still following together? Are we still mind clear about it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So in the authentication middleware now, this is the idea. Anytime you are sending an application to your this thing, so you want to make use of a request now. Let's say this create job now. You actually want this thing to be very, very, very localized to the login user. For example, Samuel Ajayi, who created his account and is logged in now into his accounts, wants to create a job. You actually want this job now and that is created to only be accessible to Samuel Ajayi. And from the last class, I told you that the information that a particular request needs to do everything it needs to do, has to be part of that request. The fact that Samuel Ajayi is the one sending that particular request of getting a job here now, for example, the fact that it is Samuel Ajayi that is sending it now has to be embedded into the request. And how can we ensure stuff like that is happening? That's when we have to do with the authentication middleware. The authentication middleware has a particular goal of saying that we want to have whoever is sending a request now has permissions to do that, has a logged in information. Basically, they have this token as part of the request. We want to find a way of passing this JWT token. This JWT token now, think of it as an encrypted form of the ID. Now, this ID that is here now, I mean, this is a token now. JWT, JSON Web Token, has helped us to encode it and give it an expiry of 30 days. So how do we encode that information now inside our request is what we are caring about. And we don't want to always write it every time, every time, every time. So that's why we want to care about doing the authentication middleware. You get that? So we have a middleware for that. So authentication.js. So of course we can create a listing now. So I can see I think I used to call it is logged in. So is logged in is my own way of creating that. That's my way of saying that that thing is part of it shows that somebody is logged in. So we have the request next and this thing. Okay. I think you guys should give me a sec. Let me grab a drink. I'm feeling thirsty. So give me a sec. Let me mute. Oh, now they were too. So what's going on? Where's everybody? We only have two people here. Clinton,
So
where's everybody?
probably they have some.
Okay. So should we go on or should we because I don't feel like we've gone everywhere I wanted to go.
Depends on you, sir. Basically.
How about you, Yinka? What do you say? No, tomorrow is Friday.
I think we have. I think we have a little bit more time because me, I will not be able to join tomorrow. So as much as we can go out today, please, if possible.
Uh, all right. So you see this is logged in here now. This is the idea to it. Let me just say this is the idea to it. So basically, somebody wants to create a job. So we need to kind of find a way to just ensure that that person is logged into the application. Is that right? And this is how I want us to do it now. Let's use the login endpoint for our testing. Let me create this error and delay away. And now let's focus on the auth I want to do. This information of the token, we want to find a way to put it inside the request. Do you understand? Want to find a way to put it inside of the request. And where in the request is it going to be? It cannot be in the request parameters. Request parameters are the things we are leaving inside the URL. Of course, I cannot carry my token and chuck it inside here. I cannot leave it inside my body because a form should not be the one to be passing that this thing. It is going to be part of my request header where inside this place is kind of where it should sit. And more appropriately, it's going to be part of here, this part that says authorization. When you click on it, you see something here that says bearer token. So that's the one option we are going to use. So I want us to kind of put something inside it that will relate to this token. So in a sense, we are embedding access token we created inside the request. So a request is containing the access token. The access token is needed to, when we decrypt the access token, it will give us back this ID that we encrypted. Are we getting me? Are you understanding me now? This
Yeah.
access token is encrypting this ID basically. So when it is decrypted, whatever it is, it will spit out this user ID. So that ID, remember that our database will need it to for querying. That's how our database is stored. So we want to find a way to have a way that okay, a request must contain this token, and that token, the decryption process to let us know that that particular person is a user. Gongo gongo is what we want to find out. Do you get? And this is how we
Yeah.
do it now.
Yeah.
Right. So this is how we this is what we are going to do. Let's use this login account part to do it very well. Okay. So what we want to do is that let us figure out how or where in the order that thing is always going to sit in. So for example, now this login account now, what if we do something like console.log the request and see where, let's see how the requests usually go. We are logging in the account, Abi. Let's see. We want to log into our application now. We send the request, it will still be logged in anyway, right? I don't know why this thing is coming back later than usual. They are logged in. Login was successful. Let's see what our core terminal is saying. Our console.log. It contains a whole lot of information that you probably have not seen before. It's so much to read. So let me just skip ahead and tell you where it is going to be. There's going to be a request dot headers. There's a headers part of it there. Okay, so that's the one we are really interested in. Let me remove this thing there because it will be giving us a little bit of an expo that I don't want us to see. I want you guys to work with me to get it. So let me send that request one more time. Hopefully this time around it should be shorter. Okay, so this is the one we just sent now. Okay, so it is shorter there. These are those the things that are in the headers. The content type that's saying application JSON. The user agent is saying that it is postman token, the hosts, what the encoding type we're accepting, connection, and the content links. So that's inside the what the headers like that. Okay. So where does this thing goes basically? Let's create, like I said, I think I gave a little bit of expo there. We're coming here to this place that says Viera token. Let's put this ABC inside it as a string. And let's send the request one more time. Let's see what happened there now. So, okay, if we look at it from here to here, something has been added as new. Let me see if I'm not this thing. You can see this one that says authorization bearer is ABC. So the token information we want to encode or decode and whatever, this is where we want to put it because it's authorizing that particular listing. So remember, this is our rec.headers inside this object that is here. And the fact that we are interested in is the what? The authorization. So we come here and say, okay, rec.headers, and we are left, we are interested in authorization. Are we together there? Okay, so
Yes.
let's call this place now. So let's come here now. Let's console.log what the authorization is now in our request.headers. So let's go here, send the request one more time and see it from here. Says bearer ABC. Is that right? So let's go into our middleware function now. Okay. So we say const is logged in. So let's try and say, okay, const authorization header. Remember that what we used was rec.headers. Is that right? And then what? Authorization. I believe this is what we just collected. That's where our token is involved is. So we say that if we don't have an authorization header, we should have what? An error. What type of error? Let's create the error. Return next or return or in fact, if we don't have our authorization error, create an error. What type of error? Now, this error is what we are defining. Is what we call as our what? Our API error. I hope whoever was asking me this question throughout that time is still here and is seeing this now.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's good. All right, so let the error be a part of API error. And basically, this time around, let's go and check our API error and see what it has to, what's going on there. Okay? So our API error is here. Out of everything here now, which one seems to be appropriate? Is this one that is bad request? Basically, someone that does not have the permissions to our application is still trying to use it. So what do we do from there? We say, let API error, we create a new one. Of course, we need to instantiate the class. Are we? So we say API error dot bad request. Is that right? So that's the method we are using. This bad request one that we are using. And what does bad request need? It needs a message, right? And the message is unauthorized. Okay, so that's the error we created. And we want to what? Return that error. Do you get? So basically, let me put the entire thing once here. Let me just put everything once here and get rid of that line. We are returning that API error, the bad request, if the person does not do it. Do you understand? So let's go on now. So this is quite clear to you guys, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you look at the authorization thing that we have before here now, so we saw that it starts with a bearer. I mean, it starts with bearer and it has a space with ABs. So let's see, what if we go like this now? Let's be specific with it now. If our bearer, our auth header, remember this our auth header is what we just created now, dot starts with, what did we start with? Is it capital bearer or small letter bearer? Okay, bearer. Let me just, all right. So if it starts with the bearer now, we need to find a way to properly collect it from there. That token, because in this case, ABC is our token. And how do we collect it from there? Let's go and wind our authentication, our login account here. Let's just call it what we are trying to do here now. Let's just try and do it now. Let token equals to rec dot headers. Is that right? Authorization. I mean, this one we are just using it as a place to just figure the thing out. Do you understand? This is what we are, that's why we are doing this login account. So authorization there. And what did I say now? Okay. So if what's it calling now? Token starts with, what's it called now? We call it bearer. What do we want to do now? We want to basically say, okay, okay, I think I shouldn't have said this thing now. Let's header equals that, and let's header say header start with that. So let's create a token now. Const token equals what? So our header dot. So this is it now. If you look at what we have here now, we have a string. It's a string that is coming here. True or false? True. We start with bearer. We want, and we can see that there is clearly a space there. If we are splitting by this place, this will be the 0th one, and this will be the first one. Let me show you how it works now. So if const.token is this, header dot splits, which was by the space. Okay. So let's say console.log. Okay. Okay. So I think we are going to have an error. Let's see if I remember this simple thing very well. That's an array operation. Supposed to pick both of them. Let's see. Let's just see. Oh yeah. Yeah. So they logged in. All right. So okay, yeah. So this is what I was saying. So the bearer is here and this thing is here. We have a list, an array. This is the 0th one, and this is the first one. It's the first one we are interested in. So we say it is what? We put the what's one, Abi. That's the index for it in the array. So let's see if we got the token very well. So
I think you can't see your screen. Your screen is not moving. I don't know if it's just me. Oh,
I heard you. Is it moving back
okay.
now?
Yes, but for a while we've just been seeing your terminal.
Oh, okay, sorry. How about now?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's right now. You can see it beeping. Yes, right now.
All right. All right, so that's the thing. So I was trying to implement this part here anyway. So I was looking, I'm walking you through it step by step to see this thing because this is an aspect of your code base that you likely are never going to tinker with. The error handler and this thing now, you are likely not going to really tinker with it. You are likely going to be copy and pasting it. So understanding what it does once and getting the point of it is really good. So the issue I have with the error handler per se is that it has been a long time of it's defined and then copy and pasting and adjusting, tinkering small again. So the actual way to explain for it, I'm kind of even like I don't even know how to even begin with it. It's more like someone that has done mathematics in a long time trying to explain quadratic equation to someone that is just starting, just like where do I even start? So that's why we kept on having those issues. And I hope I've resolved it. But I'll make a summary maybe tomorrow as well. It's just like recap everything we did today. But as long as you are with me, let's go on here so I can finish this part off. So let me try and put this thing there. Maybe it is enough with this thing. This is what I just needed anyway. So you get the token and say the token is this. Okay, so that's the thing now. We get the token and try it like that. Okay, so that's the thing. So that's where we are needing. So that has successfully fetched the ABC from the this thing. That's the ABC parts we needed. Okay, so let me remove all of this from our login and let our login be the good boy that it is. Thank it for what it's doing. All right, so we've seen how to extract that from there. So what you want to do next now is that you want to say try and say, okay, const. Remember, what we are doing is that we are decrypting the information that is inside this header, inside our token. So let's just call it now. The word for it is payload. Okay, that's the thing now. The information we encrypted was the ID of the user. So how do we get it back from there now? We will need a function for that. And the function is going to depend on verifying that the token is valid. If it is valid, it gives back the information that it is that is defined. So let's create a function and say, okay, the function is saying is token valid and goes and accept the token that we just did here. So this function now, I still want to create it as part of my utils auth. Yeah, basically here now. So I'll just say, okay, now export const is token valid. It's expecting a token, right? And it's going to return a function now. It's going to return verify. So this verify is from JSON Web Token there. So it's taking verify from there. It says synchronously. So can you please mute? I can. So please, whoever it is should mute. I'm hearing myself and it's distracting me. All right,
Oh,
thank you.
sorry. I think it was me. Sorry.
Yeah. So synchronously verify given token using a secret or public key to get a decoded token. JWT string blah blah blah. But then this is it. Options for verification returns the decoded token. So the information we decoded now is going to do that. And it's going to go about it and say something like verify. And what does it need? It needs the token and then it needs the what? The key that we gave. Okay, so the key we gave was the what? I think the JWT secrets. So JWT secrets. I suppose that is all that it needs. What else does it need? Okay, it needs some options. Did I put options inside this thing? I'm not so sure. I don't think I left some options. Maybe any option that I want to have is maybe like floating page, expiry or whatever. But I think the token set once it has expired, it's expire on here. So that's what we need now. Okay, so it needs just the token and the secret, the key. So once it verifies that the key is valid, we are going to have that well. So once everything works well, it is going to put that inside our payload. So let's properly import that thing. This should have a .js, and we should import the token value functionality. All right. So sorry, this is going to slightly extend more than we are saying. It's not going to stop exactly by 7. Sorry for the listing. So where was I? All right. So we check if the payload is properly is there. Then we'll say, okay, it will return a this thing now. It will say it will now embed this thing inside the user, basically. Say rec.user, which is a way of doing the this thing now. Say rec.user is equals to the fact that user ID. So we are going to use this rec.user well, but just accept it for now. Okay. So the information that we have there, the payload now, the ID we embedded there, this payload now, that as this the information we encoded in before decrypted, now we are collecting it back. That the ID, we are collecting it back. So in the middle of using this stuff now, we are still going to see what is this payload. We are still going to console.log this, but we don't have anywhere we are using it yet. So let's just accept this line as it is. I hope that is fine.
Yeah.
So like just like to understand like that is token valid is to check if the token that we have gotten from our bearer header, whether if it is like valid, if it exists, then we should now pass it to the rec.user variable.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now, so one more thing. Look, this rec.user now is taking an object. It's like an object that has like the user ID as like an attribute. So like if you want to access it, like if you want to access maybe the user, you have to do rec.user.user ID to be able to access like the payload ID.
Yes, basically.
All right.
So this thing is that when we are what's the word? So if say for example now in our controller code, this is me telling you where how to use it later on now. Let's say for example now in this create job now, you want to update the create job to say a user ID. That your functionality, this request that is going to come here now, remember this request has already been embedded with the token which our authentication middleware will decrypt. So that rec already has a rec.user. We could say something like const user ID is equals to rec.user. Do you get that kind of thing now? So use the
Yeah.
user ID. You understand that kind of thing I'm trying to say there?
Yes, sir. So I want to also ask like one more thing now. Like, please, can you go back to the the odds, the middleware, sir? So basically now, like now, the when I was reading like that article also, like they talked about something like JWT.verify, and like when I checked on it, like basically once you retrieve it from your bearer, once you retrieve the token from your bearer, you have to like compare with like your secrets basically inside your .m file, and from that you can just get your user ID from it. So all right, all right.
So that's basically what we just that is
Yeah.
exactly what we just did.
Okay. So like now the payload now, what's like the I'm sorry if you have answered this before and I did not pick it up.
No, it's
So
fine.
like now
Just go on.
the payload, now that I've used like the JUT.verify, does it not like get the user ID? What's like the use of the oh okay. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just like connecting it in my head. So like the payload is like directly like related to the token verification. So like the
Yeah, of
payload
course,
already
the is
contains,
token that functionality, that verify
yeah, yeah,
method is going to return
yeah,
more than that
turn,
thing.
yeah,
But I'm saying that since we don't have a place to make use of this payload yet, so
yeah.
let's just see it now. We are kind of like looking ahead so that we'll still look at it later on.
All right, sir. All right. Thank
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so we just said that. So let me continue from there now. That's a good one. Where have you been reading? Is it just the article?
Yeah, I've just been taking articles on YouTube basically. So.
All right,
Like
that's good.
the article you sent, like you sent one GitHub um is it a GitHub gist or a repository, and that one it had a good video from it. So I just watched that.
Okay, that's a good one. All right, so of course we've said our tribe, and so if anything did not go well, so that means if in the process of verifying this token now maybe somebody tried, I mean a really smart person tried passing a fake token now, and this thing, so of course the authentication did not pass through, so we say something like return. I mean, let's try and do the next thing from there. Abi, of course, the API error thing now. So the API error, dot, what's it called now? What's it called? Bad requests. Okay. So what's it called now? We will say something like authentication failed. So that means the authentication did not really pass. And it could also happen when, say, the token has expired. If the token has expired now, then this payload it is not has not been successfully verified. So it is an error that will say that the authentication has failed. And now saying this, I'm supposed to actually return next of the error. So that's error, so that it points well into our API, our error handler from there. Okay.
I saw you say we don't usually return next.
We
Just call it
could, we could,
like from
it
that
doesn't,
order.
yeah, it doesn't matter. You can return next, you can just say next, basically. So don't see, it's just like the error response, success response thing. Don't hold me
Oh,
strictly on that. Don't hold me strictly on that.
makes sense. Thank you.
All right, all right.
Sorry.
Uh,
So like now in like in TypeScript that has all those like restrictions. Is this also like return next and next? Is it like is it going to like also work?
nah, no, nothing like that. So
Okay.
it's more or less kind of like how Express kind of just works. To be honest, it's
Right.
just me doing enforcing all these things. It's just here now, If I return a response here, if I write this return and just or write it that there's no difference, to be honest. Because even Express kind of expect the last thing you are doing in your application is sending back a response. So if you are kind of doing something else after sending this response now, there will be an error.
Oh, so the response is like a return statement in like Express word, basically.
Yeah, not technically per se, but think of it as it's more or less kind of like a thing that even me, I don't have an answer to. It will still work if you don't do that. You get?
Yes, sir.
So let me break. Okay, something is not going well here. Say name verify is not found. Ah, goodness Lord. I hate working in normal distance. So where is it? All right. So this verify here is not supposed to come here. I don't like doing this. Oh, it's so ugly. So verify is supposed to come from here. Sign and verify. So yeah, this is me saying, please, if you are doing this now, probably should just stick to that required thing. Now I see the wisdom in what they were saying. Now I was a stubborn boy before.
Oh, so like if you are
Ah,
dealing with JavaScript, you should just like
Use
stick
require. Use
fire.
that require.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
All
I've
right.
That's what I'm
converted all
trying
my
to
code
do.
to import now.
You have what?
I converted all my code base. I just switched to import since I thought it was better. I have to go and take it back now.
No,
Fire.
it's not really it's not, it's not a better thing. You see, the
Like it
JavaScript
looks
ecosystem
fancy.
is very yeah, it looks fancy. I will agree with that though. I will agree with that. See, basically now, I just explained today. I didn't spend so much time writing with pure JavaScript for this backend of a thing. So it's more like everything I know per se. I'm so used to it from the TypeScript part of things. It's just very. Some things just properly work well. Even when I'm doing this, your import thing, it's part of how I set up the entire thing. It's just like if it is not broken, don't fix.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the mentality there. So you probably just want to say, okay, fine. If you are sticking with the import thing, you probably, once you see that thing that is showing up there, then you probably just know how to fix it. Okay. That's a good
Yeah.
this thing now. Yeah. So you probably just want to do something like that. What was that? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. What did I just do? I duplicated one line here. I wanted us to see an error. I wrote two responses here. I am sending a response after another one in your distance just to prove a point. The first time I encountered the error, I was not even trying to prove a point. It was something I did not know. So I kind of want us to walk through that experience again, but unfortunately, that did not happen. So let me just see calling that particular endpoint instead of getting something. Oh, I imagine. I was expecting this thing not to work, but basically, this is what happened. The first response basically came back here. I mean, yeah, that's what it should happen. But then the other one kind of just told us that we cannot set headers after they are sent to the client. So the second one is trying to like, properly put things in place just so we can this thing. But the headers cannot be sent after it is sent to the client. That's just TypeScript way of saying, I am not doing this thing again at this particular request. Okay. Are we clear?
Yes, I.
So once I find a particular this I think I will come up with that particular thing. So yeah, in any case, if our health header starts with bearer, do all this pre-processing stuff. If it did not start with the header, you want to basically say return next. I mean, if you just put ordinary next there, it should work, I think. Return next and say API error dots. That's a bad request too. So that means somebody is trying to put an invalid authentic authorization or authentication header. What did I want to say from the listing? This authorization, Abby. Okay. Authorization.
Is there like a distinction between authorization and authentication?
Mm, we more or less kind of think of authorization where we want to give someone a permission to do something. More like somebody's an admin, somebody is a this, but a more or less how we are doing what we are thinking of it now. We are kind of thinking of it that, oh, this is more like authorizing you to be like a logged in person.
Oh, all right, sir.
Yeah, but semantics, it doesn't really matter. I hope. So this is export, default. It's logged in.
Uh,
So, all right. So how do you make use of it? Let's see how to make use of it. So we've defined the middleware now. Okay. So you want to come back to, so this is how I make use of it. And I think this is how everyone makes use of it anyway. We use it in our routes, basically. So in a route place like this, let's say, for example, I can say import is logged in. That's the middleware now. So I will just pass it as a function here. So let's say before you can create a job, you have to be logged in. So the middleware is there. Remember, if the middleware is, let's look at it now. Go to this particular endpoint in
so,
Mhm. Hello, hello.
can you hear
Yeah,
you?
well, let's see for a second.
Yeah. My phone entered power saving mode. Let me drop down the curtains. Hold on. Ugh. Why did I even say that? Yeah. All right. So yeah, my phone got into a power saving mode, and then yeah, I don't know. Airtel router is not doing their job. It's a big shame. So where was I? Oh yeah. So if you look into our authentication middleware now, takes the information, decrypts the payload, inside the request, add a .user thing again now. Yeah. So we have all of that work and then just move on to the next. So this next here now is not next in an error. So since it's not next in an error, it doesn't go to the error handler. It goes where to the next available request and to the next available functionality. And this our route place is going to be create job. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So all right. So let's come here to where let's try creating a job now. Now that we have it. All right. So as our server running, let's try creating a job unauthorized. And the reason is that we didn't pass. You can see that's our authentication middleware working, isn't it?
Yes.
That's because we didn't pass an auth header. So let's try putting a reasonable header, the authorization, bearer token, and let's try putting ABC. I mean, that's a good one, right? Send the request again. Okay, saying unauthorized. But meanwhile, there's ABC there now. Okay, ABC. I mean, it starts with that. It's supposed to say invalid. Let's check what's going on. So there is the auth header there. So if it starts with bearer, although it starts with bearer, try to verify it. If there's an error occurring in the verification process, return next of the words authentication failed. Okay. All right. Let me see what might have happened. So let's say console.log token from there. Just to mine it. Let me just see if it's really got into this place. I don't know why I don't know. It's unauthorized. It did not get into that place at all. So what have I done wrong? Mhm. Come on, this is why I like this thing. Are you noticing any error I'm not saying?
I'm not sure. Probably I don't think it's even entering that, but it's ending at that. I think it's not getting a header from it at all.
Yeah, it didn't seem to have taken the token.
Yeah. So
Mm, let me see. Okay.
maybe
Let me
check the
see.
okay,
Hold on.
post.
Console.log auth header. Let me just even see it from there first of all. Our middleware is working, but we don't seem to be properly collecting the auth header from there. Saying unauthorized is undefined. Interesting. So, okay, so why is that so? Rec.headers authorization. Is that properly spelled? Okay. I mean, we literally used this thing, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Question. Rec.headers. So we know this is where our distance is even this thing here. Our auth header is undefined. We use this thing. See, if we did not go through any of all those steps of trying to use it here. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. Sorry. We might have been using it on the wrong request. Create job. Where am I? What particular one am I testing? Is it still create? I mean, that's it now.
Oh,
I was thinking like maybe fine. Maybe it's because I mean, if I why did I even think that? The fact that it's calling our middleware means that our middleware has properly seen it. So it should have that thing. Hold on. Bearer token. That's the thing now. Yeah, I'm there. See, all these things happening in a YouTube video is probably why those people have tested their code finished very, very, very well. If not, imagine having to trace error that you're this thing. Yeah, I'm not seeing what is going on actually. Regular headers. Const header is that the authorization thing. Hold on. Let me write this thing back from here. Where is this thing? Okay. Const header equals to request dot headers the authorization. Alright. I know what to do. Console.log header. Let me just come back in. Sorry, where is the login account here? Is this guy still here? Okay, works. Now that we have it from here in the authentication thingy, it doesn't work. And why is that so? This basically doesn't happen. So let me just see if we can even get the request from the console.log requests from there. Or simply have it from there. Let's see authentication.js. Let's return to the login, create job listing, endpoints. Are you guys still there or is it just me? Okay.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, we should.
Okay, still unauthorized, but our
Yeah, show
request
the
is still there. So everything still have that. So let's still even move on to request.headers. So let's move gently inside it to see. Okay. Look at it. So, all right, excuse me and explain. Why are we trying to access you and telling me that you are not there? Hold on. Or if this thing is a spelling error, I'm going to scream. Oh, Jesus Christ. It is a spelling error. There's no I.
There's no it's iOS. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
oh,
Ridiculous.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, good. Okay. It has finally worked. All right. So it's at least we got a different this thing now. Oh, that was annoying. So we have it in job. See, it is hard. It's see people that teach, they do a lot of work. Oh. Wow, it is hard actually. Uh, so regular so authorization, blah 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 blah. All right. So basically, I can actually really very something still did not work well. It is never supposed to get into this place because we didn't pass a real token, did we? This is ABC,
oh.
and
We even
ABC is
passed.
not a yeah, hold on. What we passed through, see the fact that it went into hold on, let me see, let me properly trace it out now. Okay, okay. Let's see now. If we are provided the auth header, if it starts with the split it, console.log the token. Let's see what it's console.log. Okay, let's even start from there again. It's telling me Mongo, something still is not right. If not auth header, which we've corrected now. Okay, wait a minute. Console.log. All right. So one of the things about working with TypeScript is that it probably would have just already because it would probably have already warned me about about taking something that does not exist. So because I don't have it here, I feel blind actually now. It's basically so that it starts with Biera. Okay. So wait a minute. So why is this second token not working? Oh, alt ed. Why? Jesus Christ. Okay. Now I realize how much I've been spoiled by that thing. I'm accessing something that is not there. This thing is not giving me those squiggly lines. So if you guys have worked with TypeScript, probably I'll show you what all these things is now. You will see those things. They will show you. It will be there. You will see it that right there. The reason why that did not work is because I wrote this thing as header, but our variable is called auth
Oh, oh,
header.
oh, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Aha. Finally, authentication failed. Yeah, see, it tried verifying ABC, Abby, but it saw that the authentication failed. That was what I needed. That was what I was looking for since. I hope. Sorry, you guys.
No
Sorry.
problem, sir.
So, all right. So, because
You are
it saw that
giving us more
it
reasons
starts.
not to use JavaScript.
Yeah.
Said you are giving us more reasons not to use JavaScript.
I mean, it is fine if you know what you are
I
doing,
beg
but
you.
maybe it is a skill issue. Maybe it's a skill issue from my end. When I told you I didn't really spend so much of my time. I hated
Yeah.
TypeScript as first because I didn't see the point. But I wrote almost exclusively for a long time, and I'm writing types JavaScript with you guys, and I'm missing those things that I really wanted to see from there. Oh no, like
We we
yeah.
expecting well,
Yeah, so those things because TypeScript would have told you, it would have shown you. Maybe I'll show you guys maybe like trying to do the same thing with TypeScript and then you see what would have happened. Where am I? All right, so basically putting the ABC there, it failed as we should because it came here, it starts with that token, and then now that it came with it, try verifying it, an error will occur because it's not a valid token. And what happened here? Try and next it. Do you get that? Authentication
yeah.
failed. And that is what came here. So what if we gave it a valid header now? How do we pass a valid token there? Sorry for taking so much of your time.
It's fine,
Okay.
sir. No problem.
So we come here, copy. Let's copy and then paste it. Okay. So copy, go to create job and then paste. Okay. So let's send it now. It worked. Successfully created new job. Everything worked. And basically, it's more or less, it worked specifically because our application where we said we should create a new job. Where is it? This is it here now. No. At controllers jobs. We are not doing anything with information that got there. In our routes, we told it that if the user is logged in, create the job. But in our job controller, we are not even doing anything at all with that information we passed. But just to verify that things work properly now, we should be able to press the user ID from there. Say cons user ID equals to reg.user dot user ID. I believe this is how that thing should be. That's what's one very oh we are okay. Our token is being outputted there. Okay, we've stopped doing that. You shouldn't console log your token. So let's see. Interesting. What happened again? Oh, we didn't console.log it. Console.log user ID. All right. So the user ID of this person who is logged in now. Let's have it in our terminal. Undefined. I mean, I was about to say it is undefined. Wait a minute. Regular user. Let me even see what that object is. Sounding too quiet. Are we still here? Don't betray me. Stay here until we finish.
Yeah, yeah, sir.
Yeah.
User ID undefined.
Fine.
I don't know what to say. Let's come back in. Authentication. What did you verify? Wait a minute. Just wait a minute. All right. Let's see how a good place to actually have it now. Console.log. Let's log our payload while we're at it. So we know we are doing the right thing. You know, I told you that I couldn't make use of it there. So I was using what I remember how we should look. If you remember me, I said I don't know what that thing looks like. There's no place to use it yet. So now that we have a place to use it, let's see our payload. So our payload has, oh, it is an ID. It has not a dot underscore ID. This I at means where it is created, when it is created. That should refer to now, exactly now. And this expiry refers to when this JWT token is going to be expired, which is in a month's time. Let's interpret this. So let's see, okay, ChatGPT here. Oh, okay, that's basically what I was doing. Okay, interpret interpret this, expire this. Man, you should be able to pick up what it is saying.
Maybe it's counting seconds or something.
No. It is a format for time. I know exactly what it is.
Oh,
I can't be bothered to talk about it. September 26th. So this is it. This is it. This is when the token was created. And this is when it's expired. Remember when I created this thing, this is it now. Is that right? 7:07 in Nigerian time. This is UTC, and we are 1 hour
yeah.
ahead of the UTC. Yeah. And this is when it expired. The 30-day stuff. Are we good?
Yeah.
So
What?
it shouldn't have said dot underscore ID. It is dot ID here. So all right. So let's see. Let's run things again. Hopefully we'll get okay. I think it's fine to remove that payload. Where is it from the authentication middleware? For those that were not part of this class, they have basically just have something they don't see. All right, so it's fun. It's actually fun. I actually wrote this thing another time. Boom. So here we go. So we can go back to saying here. Where is it? Dot user ID. Turn it back. And here we go. So those user ID, imagine if you want to query your jobs database, do some different things with it. That is how you are having it. So you're actually collecting the user ID from when they are logged in. And that's something you will do a lot of time. Let me just open you to where some of this code that is here. This was my final year project at Unilag. Okay. So it is interesting that I can actually reference to it. Now, I'll talk about it, well, maybe more from the next class. But yeah, let me just show you how I'm making use of it. Let's say someone wants to create a vehicle now, and blah 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 blah. Do I even need people to be? Where's this thing? Why can't I? Okay, a route. That's where we need this thing to be. All right. So where am I seeing? I need where I actually said. Can you imagine? Why can't I remember anything about this project that I wrote myself? Tell me, yeah. So you can see I'm using it here. Okay. I'm also using it here anyway. So no, quite why did I say there will be a params will be there? I can't remember what I wrote here, but I wouldn't have done that. That's not, it shouldn't be part of their this thing. See, this part of the code is more like we just wanted to get something to be done. So I can't remember why I have it as a parameter, but this is likely an error from my end. But yeah, I don't think I did not use this approving these parts. It was supposed to be just get something done so that we can have the thing to work. It is a prototype, not a production software. So we couldn't be bothered with that particular part. So that's why I did not notice that. But yeah, so are we good with everything we have?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. Good.
All right. So yeah, this would be a good place to end the class. So everything we did so far, let's come back to it now. We added colors to our logger. We discussed the error handler. We added a not found middleware, and we did some JWT stuff and added an authentication middleware. All nice, easy, and fun. So the first 5 to 6 minutes class from tomorrow will be based on trying to revise this. As for you, Yinka, I think you may not be there. So yikes. So, but also I want this what's it called? Change log. There's a change log document that I have. I'll open it later on. But that way I will put it as part of the group chat stuff. It will contain everything that we just did, those things we did, those things we changed. It will be there. And then tomorrow, everybody that is missing, I mean, that is not here, will probably be able to find their way around it. And you also be able to, I mean, find your way around it as well. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah, it
as
usually
always,
helps.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's nice to hear.
So
If you have any suggestion to or anything, you can just say.
yeah, before we leave, can I comment that my server usually starts before my database connects? What do you think I'm doing wrong?
Your what?
Server usually starts before my database connects. Like
Okay.
even right now that I'm running it.
Okay, you probably want to run this function. In fact, let me not give a commentary on it until I've seen that the way how you are defining your stuff. Even for me, yeah, I was still going to talk about it later on. I feel like I left it there to make a point that our server is connecting. If our server fails to connect, we are still starting our database did not connect, rather. We are still starting the server anyway. I feel like when I made the function, now I can't remember because it's a couple of weeks ago. I probably wanted to make a point to it, but it's something I'll still get back to fixing, or why you may want to have that particular thing anyway. But yeah,
All right.
whoever asked me that question should reach me later on with a picture of the code base or a link so I can just see what I just see.
Okay. Okay. I'll reach out.
All
Send
right. So
a link as
so
well.
so yeah, the update is on the this thing and has been pushed. So everything that changes in that week 5 Thursday plus commits. Okay. So yeah, thank you for the time, and I would like to hear much more of your questions. It really helps me as well. You don't know how much it helps me as well. So you can ask. I mean, if I don't know it, then we come to I have someone that is much more better than I am or with more experience than I have. And then also, I mean, there's ChatGPT. You can ask it as well. So yeah, that's it. And that's it with the call today. So
All right. Thank you, sir, for the call.
yeah, thank you for listening
Yeah,
as
thank you
well.
so much.
Good
Yes, sir.
night.
And you too, sir.
Yeah.